4,200. Now that number...
Speak about President Trump's decision to shut down the DACA program, the so-called DREAM program that allows children who were brought here by their parents, often very young, and who grew up here and are now, as far as they know, full Americans. This is their home. To not be thrown out of their adopted country and sent home to a place that they do not know, all because of what their parents did when they were still children. We don't even hold children accountable for contracts that they enter into. You have to be an adult to be held accountable for a contract that you enter into. And yet, apparently, this president is willing to take these children, break up their families, send them to a country they do not know, all because of a decision that was made by their parents, in some cases when these kids were infants. I've spoken to these kids, they're generally called dreamers, who have no memory of living anyplace other than this country. I don't know about the presiding officer, but it's hard for me to scroll back and have a lot of concrete memories about when I was 1 year old, 2 years old, 3 years old. Here are kids who've grown up in American schools, grown up in American families, growing up playing American sports, grown up as a part of our culture, and now, for reasons that really defy humane explanation, he wants to cast a cloud over about 800,000 children now turned into young adults in many cases, and many more who are right behind them in the program, who've been looking forward to this as something that they could do when they came of age to get their full-on DACA permit. We've got over 1,000 people who are approved in the DACA program in Rhode Island. We're pretty proud of them. They've served in the military, they've had jobs around the country. 91% of DACA recipients are employed, pay taxes, and contribute to Social Security. When we had the immigration debate, that's what we said we wanted people to do. Pay your taxes, get a job, pay into Social Security, support yourself and support the system around you. Well, they've done that. But because of a decision that they did not even make, a decision that under American law they would be incapable of making because they were not adults, this shadow of punishment and family disruption has been put over them by perhaps the least humane person ever to hold the office of President of the United States. And if this doesn't prove that proposition, there's plenty more that does. I understand that our leader has urged Speaker Ryan and Majority Leader McConnell to get Senator Durbin's and Senator Graham's DREAM Act up for a vote. I think it will pass. I think it will pass with more than 60 votes. I think we, at least, the decent members of the Senate, can lift that cloud of fear, threat, and anxiety. I think we should. I think we should do it soon. And if Majority Leader McConnell is not interested in bringing this to the floor, I understand that Senator Schumer has made it pretty clear that he's going to insist on attaching this bill to some other measure as we move forward this year. And I completely support that. This president said that he loves these kids and wanted to approach this issue with a big heart. Huh. The White House, which last I heard, the President of the United States runs, put out talking points telling these kids to get ready to depart. Get ready for departure from this country. Really? That's the big heart? To threaten 800,000 kids who've played by the rules, who've done what the government of the United States asked them to do, to get ready to depart because of what? Some crime that they committed? No, no crime that they committed. Because their parents brought them here as kids. Gene came here from Peru. He was brought to the United States by his parents when he was months old. He's 23 now. If he were to go back to Peru, he'd have to move to a village where he has never lived, that is not in a safe area, that he does not know, because he's been here for over 20 years, 22 and change if he's 23 now. Rodrigo Pimentel came here from Portugal at 10 months old. Rhode Island has a really vibrant Portuguese community, which we are really proud of. And his parents came to join that community, pursue a better life, start a small business, and succeed. Rodrigo doesn't even remember Portugal. He's got a computer science degree, a college computer science degree. He says the U.S. is his home. What is the gain for our country in telling Rodrigo Pimentel, with his computer science degree from college, that he needs to go back to Portugal because at 10 months old, his parents brought him here in search of a better life? Where the heck is the justice or the decency in that? These are all Rhode Island kids that I'm talking about. There are hundreds of thousands of stories around the country. Lesden Salazar from Guatemala, brought to the United States by her parents at age 7. We're going to break up that family and send her back to Guatemala because what? At age 7, she didn't successfully talk her parents out of bringing her here? Or maybe she should have left her parents then. Oh, parents, boy, that would be illegal to go to the United States without the proper paperwork. I can't be a part of that. I'm staying in Guatemala. You go. Is that the expectation we have for a 7-year-old, that we would now punish her with deportation and with breaking up her family? That's the big heart of this president? I'll tell you what one of her memories is. She doesn't remember much of Guatemala, but she does remember sitting in her living room with her parents, watching President Obama announce the DACA program. She says that her family cried tears of joy when that happened. At last, a path forward from this problem that was not of her own making. She does not understand why the United States is giving so many children an education here and then sending them back to other countries, breaking up their families. And I don't either. It makes no sense. Crisia Rivera came to Rhode Island from El Salvador. She came when she was 8. So maybe that's old enough that she should have broken up with her parents back then or talked them out of coming here. She grew up first in Maryland. Interestingly, she went to the same school that the president's son now attends. She came to Rhode Island, she graduated from college. She is currently in medical school at Brown University. Obviously somebody we want to get out of our country. She's scared. She feels exposed. I'd like to have one person come to the Senate floor and tell me what Krissa Rivera did at age 8 that was so wrong that we are willing to take somebody who will have a Brown University medical school degree and throw them out of our country for no other reason. Explain that to me. I tell you, there's a lot that's embarrassing about the way our president behaves. This is pretty bad, particularly in the wake of the way he behaved after Nazi flags were paraded through Charlottesville, Virginia, the city of Thomas Jefferson's great university. He spent the next couple of days winking at white supremacist Nazi types, equating their behavior with the behavior of the protesters who came out. I would hope that if neo-Nazis were walking through Providence, I would go out and protest. Am I as wrong as the Nazis? I don't think so, but President Trump appears to think so. It was just two sides having an even-handed dispute. I don't think so. When the president reacted to Charlottesville the way he did, he was winking at the worst impulses in our society: bigotry, hatred, discrimination of people based on color and religion, things that we have fought back against for generations. Fighting back against those evils is part of what makes us Americans. But does President Trump fight back against those evils? No, just a little wink, a little pat on the head along the way. Keep it up, boys. I don't mind that much. No big difference between you and the people who come out because they're outraged to see Nazi flags flying in Charlottesville, Virginia. And now this. And now this. Who the hell is President Trump talking to when he does this? Who gets the wink this time? If this isn't another wink to bigotry and hatred and discrimination, I don't know what is. Because you cannot explain to me why an 8-year-old who is such a good person that she will come to a new country and come all the way to Brown University's medical school is to be punished for not having broken up with her parents at age 8 when they brought her to this country. It makes no sense. So I see the distinguished senior senator from Illinois here on the floor. The battle for the DACA program and for the DREAM Act has been a cause of his political life. There is no person in this chamber to whom more credit is due for this than Senator Durbin. So with great respect as well as affection, I will yield to him the floor.
Mr. President,
Senator from Illinois.